Hello, dear ones. It's Maria with you again. Very good to be with you one more time. Today is July 5th, 2022, and I'm going to continue the series of videos about the Earth's evolution. So today we're gonna learn a little bit more about our solar system. For that, I'm gonna show my screen. Just wait a little bit. Here, you should be able to see my screen now. Let me do a slideshow. Looks like my kids just woke up. Give me just 1 second. Okay, so here is our beautiful solar system. The first thing, I think everybody already know that, maybe not everybody, but everything has consciousness. Absolutely everything in the universe has consciousness. The same thing that we are not a body, we are consciousness. The planets, the stars, all the stars we see out there, everything has consciousness. The consciousness of our planet Earth, actually her name is Gaia, and our sun is the same thing. Our sun is consciousness, a being, and his name is Helios. So that's the first curiosity. And then we have all our planets. We have learned that we have only 9 planets, including Jupiter. That will be Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. And then you have the asteroid belt, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. But there is actually most of all solar systems used to have 12 planets plus the sun. The number 13 actually it's a divine number that represent the systems, 12 planets going around one central sun. So I never really believed that the number 13 give you bad luck. Well, I was born in the 13th, so let me go to the next one. So Mercury is the closest planet, the sun closest to the sun. The planet that's closest to the sun, his orbit is very short and it's very hot over there. And then you have Venus, Earth. A curiosity about Earth is, did you know that at one point in time we had 2 Earths, 2 moons actually? We used to have 2 moons. One of the moons was brought to our solar system by the Andromedas. It was an artificial moon. And the second moon was actually part of Jupiter's surface, and there was some explosions in Jupiter, and some parts was expelled from the planet. Some was captured by Jupiter. That's why Jupiter has so many moons. And one of those species went out in space and cross the asteroid belt that I think in that time it was still a planet, I'm not sure. Cross Mars, past Mars gravitational force, and was held by Earth. So that's our moon. The moon we see on the sky right now actually was a piece of Jupiter. And then we have Mars. And do you know that one time Mars had atmosphere and have humanoid lives living in the surface? Actually, Mars, I'm going to explain how Mars got to be what it is today without atmosphere. And then you have the asteroid belt that the name is Kuiper belt. And before this asteroid belt actually it was a planet. His name was Tiamat. And all solar system was governed, that's not exactly the good name for that, but it was overfilled by benevolent forces. But I'm not sure how long time ago, there was dark force that infiltrated that planet that before was called Tiamat, and through Mars, through a portal in Mars, they were able to infiltrate that planet and took over the planet. And then they changed the planet they changed the name to Maldek. That actually comes from Marduk, that was one of the beings that invaded that planet. And from Maldek, they were in war with Mars because they were trying to take over Mars, and their planet was destroyed on that war. I will give you more information about the Maldek explosion later on. Not today, in another presentation. So when the planet exploded, it became the asteroid belt, and at the same time it's just damaged the atmosphere of Mars. And then we have Jupiter that has 79 moons. And the reason why Jupiter today has so many moons was that explosion that created our moon. Many of the pieces was expelled from the surface, but it was held by the gravitational force of Jupiter. And then you have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and then you have Pluto. Do you know that Pluto has a moon that's half of its size? Is called Charon. And Charon play a very important role on astrology. And then we have another planet, that the 11th planet, that's called Eris. The Ceres is a dwarf planet. Actually is one piece of the asteroid belt, but is large enough to be considered a dwarf planet. And Pluto and Eris is also a dwarf planet, but they are both considered the planets of our solar system. And then you have Nibiru. Some people also call Planet X. The Nibiru has a very interesting orbit. It orbits our sun, and at the same time it also orbits one of the Sirius star. My next presentation will be about the Sirius and the connection with Sirius, Earth, and Nibiru. And then we have the Kuiper belt. Let me go back one more presentation. To go one more time. You have the Kuiper belt all the way here, that's around all the solar system. It's like it's create a belt all the way around the solar system. I wonder if in one point in time that asteroid belt, Kuiper belt, if that was a planet that was destroyed. I would not be surprised if I find out later that's what happened. So far I didn't find any documentation about that. So just a quick review. Earth used to have 2 moons. Later on I'm going to explain what happened with the other moon, why it's not out there right now. And Mars used to have atmosphere just like Earth, and there was life living the surface of Mars. And the asteroid belt, actually it was a planet, Maldak, that before was taken, was called Tiamat. And in the asteroid belt we have Ceres, there's a dwarf planet. There is a book, I'm going to talk about that book later, but there is a book that somebody wrote that he was taken to that dwarf planet. But I will create another presentation about that and I'll explain more. So the Jupiter actually was the one that generated our moon, came from Jupiter. And then you have Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, that has a moon. It has other moons too, but there is one, it's called Charon, that's half of its size. And then you have Eris and the Nibiru, planet X. The Nibiru planet X is a very interesting planet, and it's play a major role in all Earth's evolution. And then we have, for last, the Kuiper belt. Another thing that I think many people didn't know, I just figured it out, that is actually our solar system with all the planets is part of the Pleiades. As all those other stars, our solar system also orbits Alcyone, that's the central sun of the Pleiades. So we are also Pleiades. Our solar system is part of the Pleiades. The other stars that orbits Alcyone is Merope, Atlas, Pleione, Maya. If you think what's that Maya has to do with the Mayans on Mexico, has everything. The Mayas from Mexico, actually there was souls from Maya that incarnated there as 4th dimension, and then they ascended to the 5th dimension. That's why they just disappear. They ascended to the 5th dimension and went back to Maya. Why they did that? Because at that time Earth needed that energy there. And then you have Electra, Taygeta, Celiano, Asteroid, and then you have Helios, that is our sun. So the name of our sun is Helios. Earth's name is Gaia. Our planet used to have two moons. One was an artificial moon brought to our solar system, brought to Earth through by the Andromedas. And the other moon, the one we see up there right now, is actually a piece of Jupiter that was expelled during an explosion and went out through space and past the asteroid belt, past Mars, and was held by Earth. If you're curious to know from where I got all that information, actually it's many sources that I'm getting that information. The major one is Dolores Cannon's books, and I recently came across those two books, The Pleiadian Agenda, that's amazing, and Our Cosmic Orange from Ismael Paris. And they work more like confirmation. Many of the informations that I was finding from other sources, those two books was kind of confirming what I have found out. It's really worth to check it out, those two books. So my next presentation, I'm gonna explain about the Sirius B supernova that happened 4 billion years ago and what that has to do with Earth and Nibiru. So that's all I had planned for today. Sorry that I got a little bit distracted. Thank you very much for watching my video, to be in this presentation with me, and I have much more interesting things to talk to you about. If you are curious to know why Maria is telling me all those things, because it's time for us to think outside the box, to understand that we are part of something much bigger. We are part of the universe. Everything is connected. We need to get out of our little box and expand our consciousness. Because a lot of revelations, a lot of disclosure is about to come. If you at least get used to know more about your solar system, and then it will be easier to assimilate other things that's about to come. Much love and light to you, and see you